on your wrist, a plain Jane.
The following video is broadcasting live, and thank you for being my studio audience. Thank you for hitting thumbs up and subscribing to my channel for more Black news, celebrity entertainment, and a splash of controversy. What up and welcome back. It's your girl Jane, the plainest Jane, and we got some syrup to get into. So come on in. The bus is early today, all right? Y'all know things are always sticky in Hollywood and in real life. I'm really excited to be coming to y'all before 9 p.m. Okay, I'm getting better with my timing, and I do have another show planned for y'all this evening. So this show, y'all know things are always sticky in Hollywood and in real life. This show is about just a bit of escapism. I realized the day that the Uvalde disaster took place, I tried to do 2 serious shows, right? Literally, I went live when I got off. I went live about 40 minutes after that. And then I decided to do my entertainment show, which is this right here, the Black News Bus, afterwards. And I just couldn't do it because I was too emotionally taxed from what I didn't expect to be that affected by what happened in Texas with those 19 babies between the 2nd and the 4th grade, 6 to 10-year-olds. And it threw off everything. So this is the show that you all missed out on. At least I started this show, but I just found myself being way too emotional about it and not able to get through my entertainment show. So I said, you know what? I do have some updates for you as it pertains to Uvalde, Texas. But I think it's just going to be best for me. And I don't know if it'll be best for you as well, for me to do the entertainment show first, to do the light stuff first. Because I know me personally, I've been trying to, y'all know my finger's always on the pulse. It don't matter what's going on, real world news, celebrity news, whatever. And I found myself trying to find things that weren't about Uvalde today just to give myself an emotional break. And it was hard. I found myself right back at Uvalde just about all day today. And I even posted something, I think like an hour and a half ago, on the community tab about something that's really, really, really unfortunate and what a child had to do in order to survive. So with all that being said, we need to get into this entertainment show. And if you're interested in something more serious, if you want a really information packed and really exposing some things that went wrong with Uvalde, check out the next live that's going to be after this. Right now, I could use something a bit more perky before I get into the serious stuff. And maybe you could too. Who knows? But look, Walmart. We need to get into what happened at Walmart. We need to get into Wendy Williams. She's talking about identity theft. Like who done stole Wendy's identity? Who's really trying to set her up to that capacity? Come on in, hit thumbs up on the bus. Thank you all for here. We are early today. Wells Fargo is trash. And then we're going to talk about a Black man who spent a lot of time working on a car powered on water. So there's a lot of stuff that we want to get into this evening, right? I really enjoy this Black News Bus. It is a new series here that I do believe that this Black News Bus is here to stay. I've come up with a couple of other series in the past, just trying things out. And I think that this one is here to stay. So I'm really excited to speak to you all, okay, this evening and bring y'all some celebrity entertainment and all that other good stuff, okay? So make sure you hit thumbs up, have a seat on the bus, get comfortable, grab your libations. If you drink, grab your drink. If you twisting something up, rolling something up, putting something in the air, do that. Whatever it is that you do, not no meth. Baby, if you do meth, I just want you to go get some help. Don't watch my channel if you're doing meth, okay? But shout out to everybody in the live chat. Listen, let's get this thing ready for takeoff. Okay, Libertude on the bus. Libertude always got to catch the replay because I be coming on too goddamn on late. We early today. Honk. We early today. Okay, let's get ready for takeoff. Throw some pancakes in the chat while we get ready. And I want to just jump straight into it. Okay.
The plainest Jane. This is one of my favorite comments here. She says, I loves me some Black. And she said, loves me some Black news. She says, is it just me or does anyone else get tired of seeing people that don't look like them delivering info about them day in and day out?
And we're back. So welcome aboard the Black News Bus. If you're still loading on, listen, the Black News Bus, if you ain't already familiar, it is a social media stroll that covers Black topics inside the celebrity world, but it also covers real Black news involving everyday people like you and me. And you know, I always got some nuggets of Black excellence and Black history in this thing. So let's get ready to do what we do this evening. Okay, Stickies? Now, real quick, y'all know I always tell you, grab grab onto your mental health or get yourself in check. You ain't got no business dibbling and dabbling in what's going on in the world unless you've handled your own invisible problems and your own spiritual warfare. Get your house, get your person together first before you get to being nosy with these messy ass celebrities. Okay. I know I have several new subscribers and thank you all so much. I appreciate each and every one of you. I see there are quite a few people in the chat that I haven't seen in a while, and thank y'all. And when I say I haven't seen y'all in a while, I mean I haven't seen y'all since YouTube deleted my channel with over 102,000 subscribers. So thank all of y'all in the chat. And listen, before I get into breaking down today's topics and viral events, make sure you subscribe, all right? And thumbs up or down, either way, I appreciate it. But make sure you think critically and independently, regardless of what you hear from me or anybody else. So let's get right into it this evening. I'm really excited to speak to y'all this night, okay? So Wendy Williams is claiming identity theft. And I found this information out as I'm reading through and really combing through with a fine-tooth comb the incident that happened with the alleged conservatorship or financial guardian or whatever the case is. There was something that I really zoomed in on. And she's claiming that there's some identity theft going on. And I found that to be interesting. And honestly, I find it to be very believable. There are a lot of people that Wendy Williams cannot trust right now around her. And I really wish her well. I know somebody asked me in the comments, why are we giving Wendy Williams so much grace? Listen, Wendy Williams has done a lot of people dirty. However, most of the dirt that Wendy Williams has done to people, I acknowledge it. And I'll call it out plenty of times. She is somebody I look up to. She's somebody I study for the simple fact that she's been in this game for decades. Not one, not two, not three. Wendy has been in this game for decades. And you're talking about a Black woman who crossed over from syndicated radio to daytime syndicated television. When it comes to communications and women of color in a male-dominated industry, Wendy Williams may not be the blueprint that you want to go based off of, based on how she moves and how nasty she can be sometimes. However, she does know how to command attention. She may have her issues, like we all do. She's got a lot of them. However, Wendy and a lot of her transgressions are based upon her talking trash about people and her former team trying to literally Britney Spears her and steal her money are something totally different. As she goes through whatever's going on in her life and solve some of her problems with her divorce, her mom passing away, her money's being, taken from her. They're trying to call her incapacitated while some of her managers that she's fired are stealing $10,000 at a time off of her card to try to put her in a guardianship that she does not agree with. She doesn't even like this man and he's stealing money from her. So there's a difference between dragging somebody based on how they look or what their circumstances is and hoping that someone can get their money and pay their bills. Wendy Williams has admitted that she only has $3 to her name. Right now, she's living with friends and she's living off of her friends' money. Okay. Wendy is broke because they aren't allowing her to get to her money. So there are two different things between somebody that's been dragging somebody for years and somebody that you just want to see their whole fortune disappear from them. There are two different things, and I can see the difference. So let me know how y'all feel about it down below in the comments. But let's get into these details because they're sticky. Okay. So she fired her manager. Wendy Williams fired her manager, right? And he snuck into the courthouse recently too. Not before, recently, right? Within the last 3 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks, he snuck his ass to the courthouse to file guardianship paperwork, knowing she fired him 3 months or so ago. Make that make sense. So you're trying to control what she does with her money so that maybe you could skim some off the top too. They won't even let her access her bank statements so that you can file for guardianship. They're literally trying to Britney Spears her. So let me tell you how Wells Fargo is trash. They're trash. You should have already known. If you don't know by now, I don't know what type of rock you're living under, but you need to get from under it and quickly. Okay. The case is sealed, but it's come out that Wells Fargo is actually telling the courts that Bernie has her best financial interest. Mind you, Bernie is the manager. This is the man you see her with right here in this picture. She fired him. She felt like he was not doing her right personally, financially. He just didn't have her best interest. And so she fired him. But Wells Fargo is over here saying, oh no, we think that Bernie has her best interest. I wonder why that is. What are y'all hiding, Wells Fargo? Because I don't understand how Wendy has been consistent for the last 3 going on 4 months saying she doesn't want anything to do with this man, and y'all are saying, oh, this is a good idea. How about you find somebody else to, even though Wendy doesn't want the guardianship, he doesn't agree, how about you find somebody else to recommend to the judge? It seems that the bank, her former staff, Bernie is her former manager and her former financial advisor, they're all trying to railroad her and control her money while she just has no say. At the very least, let her son do it. Her son's 21 years old. But let's keep going into these details because, listen, this stuff, it gets really gruesome when it comes to Wendy Williams and what's going on with her right now. Okay? I see there's a lot of pancakes in the chat. Thank y'all so much. So Wendy's money, it's been tied up for quite some time. We learned that she filed suit against Wells Fargo in January, late January, early February, and her attorney is up against a lot trying to combat the misinformation. Honestly, I don't blame her attorney, right? Because there's just so much. There's so much happening. She's trying to set the record straight without showing her full hand. And honestly, I think that that's a good idea. Remember initially when I brought you all this information about Wendy Williams, it was the story of, well, the courts assigned her, a financial guardian and said that she may be getting her money as soon as July. The attorney responded and said, this story isn't true. That's all they said, though. This story isn't true. 4 words. Come to find out, some of the story is true, but she's not showing her full hand. And I think that's a good idea because it seems that these people that Wendy fired continue to get ahead of her. However, let's go over some of the new details. So her attorney is saying that Wendy is doing really, really good after receiving treatment for her Graves' disease and thyroid issues. But here's what her attorney says additionally. Her attorney says, and I quote, there's something someone has done with Wendy Williams' money. And the bank is attempting to hide something. And you know what? I completely agree with that. I think it's true. I think that it's true. Luckily, they letting her pay her bills, only the bills that she had paid from that account before. So they're letting her pay her bills from that account. But other than that, if she wants money to eat or go to a hotel or get her a new wig to plop on, she's got to borrow stuff from friends. And that's really disturbing in my opinion. But she spoke out last week when the news broke that Wendy scored a big win in the court case against Wells Fargo. And maybe that's what her attorney was talking about, because what's the big win? Wendy is not satisfied with what the court is trying to impose on her. And so the possibility of getting to her money as soon as July through the court-appointed financial guardian, Wendy is like, listen, I'm not having it. Like I said, the attorney said that the story is not true. But the attorney also didn't provide any clarity. Like I said, do your thing, hide your hand. You definitely shouldn't be letting the public and letting the blogs know what your next plans are to combat this railroading, this attempt at Britney Spearsing Wendy. You definitely shouldn't show your full hand. So there are a lot of people that are trying to reverse engineer the moves of Wendy and her attorney. So it's awesome that they're keeping things private, in my opinion. And let me know how you feel about it down below in the comments. Now, a few months ago, Wendy asked for copies or access to her bank account, and Wells Fargo refused to provide her with those things. And it claimed in a petition for guardianship that Wendy Williams is an incapacitated person. Now, the bank argued that she's a victim of undue influence and financial exploitation. Okay. And you know what's really unfortunate about this is because Wendy is somebody that lives in the public eye so much, and we've seen a lot of her struggles. And I mean, we've seen her passing out in that Halloween episode, right? In the what you call it, the Lady Liberty, right? The Statue of Liberty thing. We've seen a lot of other just very aloof and honestly cringy moments from Wendy as she goes through the divorce, the mistress, the humiliation, losing her mom. That's just so much. You know, she even had to flee from her own living space because Bernie brought 2 security guards to her home uninvited, unannounced, and she had to sneak out of her own back door. And that's when she flew down to Miami to spend time with her son. And that's when she gave us that little bit of a weird video walking on the beach while her son was asking her questions. She left her place. She felt like they might be trying to put her under a 5150. She had no clue. But with them trying to Britney Spears her, there's no telling what they're trying to do. If they already feel like she's a little off or off enough to get over on her, who's to say? If they take her into an institution and put her under some certain type of medicine that makes her act out further. Similar to Britney Spears. Was Britney Spears a little off way back 13 plus years ago? Perhaps, but they kept her subdued intentionally so that they could control everything around her, specifically her money. Okay. So they issued her a temporary financial guardian that has been in place since March. It has not come out who that financial guardian is. This was Thursday of last week that they appointed the financial guardian. Is it the same financial guardian that she had? Is it different? We don't know. But Wendy is not having it. She doesn't agree. She's not accepting it. And here's what her attorney says, and I quote, "Please be advised that Wendy is not in agreement with the appointment of a financial guardian by the court. Wendy has been very clear that she doesn't want, okay? She does not want a financial guardian to tell her what she can and cannot do with her money. She feels she's capable of hiring her own financial advisors who work for her and report to her and not the court." Now, let's keep going, end quote. Okay, because I want to get to the identity theft part. And there's something else within that sentence that seems to be really concerning for me when it comes to HIPAA laws and HIPAA violations or whatever Wendy's going through in the hospital. There seems to have been a breach of privacy, which is really sad, which is maybe why the courts feel so bold and so strong about her being incapacitated, is because did y'all access her medical records without her permission? And who led you there to get to her medical records? That's not okay. But let's keep going, okay? Here's some more that Wendy Williams' attorney had to say. I quote, "We believe that this story has been put forth in an attempt to lessen the public outcry and regulatory scrutiny mounting around Wells Fargo due to their actions. We have complaints pending before multiple regulatory bodies regarding the improprieties surrounding this case, from a breach of the patient-doctor privilege to identity theft. And we will, of course, be working with Wendy should she decide to appeal the court's decisions." That's the really important part, in my opinion. They've got things in their file. Like I said, I think it's great that her attorney isn't showing her full hand. But they've got evidence that they plan on presenting and combating this nasty battle in the courts of a breach of the patient-doctor privilege, meaning who the hell let her medical records out? Who did it? And also identity theft. Now, that's more than just taking someone's card and spending $10,000, which is what Bernie did, and she fired him months ago. How dare you spend $10,000 of Wendy's money to put her in a guardianship, and she ain't even know? Why would you use her American Express card to do that? You out of pocket. You you way out of pocket. I've been there, had to slap you with a shaky hand. I don't care what's going on. I'm going to slap you because you out of pocket, Bernie. Yeah, you out of pocket.
Out of pocket for that shit. Way out of pocket. What do you gain from that?
So listen, like I said, this is ridiculously interesting because Wendy claims that she is dead broke. Like I was telling you earlier, she told Wells Fargo that she needs money in order to pay her bills and that they allowed her to pay select bills from the account, only ones that they could verify she previously used that bank account to pay. So Bernie Young, you out of pocket. Karma's going to get you, Bernie. But I'm hoping the best for Wendy Williams. Like I said, it's not about showing her grace and excusing her actions. I've called Wendy out several times. She's been really mean and really nasty, and especially when it comes to the way that she goes hard at the Black celebrities and Black reality stars, and she doesn't do all that to the Kardashians and the non-Black folk. She seems to go harder and dig deeper and get a little bit nastier to the Black folk. But she doesn't even have it in her to do that anymore because she's got too much that she's worried about. So talking mess and having someone trying to take everything you've worked for 3+ decades, two totally different things. And I really just hope that Wendy is able to settle this situation because this is just, it's out of pocket. Okay. So let's continue to talk about Wells Fargo because they another bag of people that ain't shit.
Hey, thanks for letting me keep you connected and in the know with what's happening in the Black world. Don't forget to smash on that like button for support and for more Black news.
So when we talk about Wells Fargo, you should already know by now that they're trash, hot, boiling garbage. All right. And so it came out in 2016 that Wells Fargo had actually created millions. If you haven't already pulled your money from Wells Fargo, the time is now. Okay. Especially if it's a large lump sum, but I don't give a shit if it's $2. Take it out. So they came out it came out in 2016 that they had created millions of fake bank accounts for customers without their knowledge. The Federal Reserve took the unprecedented move in 2018 of limiting the bank's assets and also demanded resignations from the Wells Fargo board. There's a quote by a federal chairwoman, Janet Yellen. She said in a statement, "We cannot tolerate pervasive and persistent misconduct at any bank." So Wells Fargo in 2020 agreed to pay $3 billion. This was a fine to settle a civil lawsuit and criminal prosecution over fraudulently opening millions of savings and checking accounts without customers' consent to meet sales quotas. What would you do if you just woke up and you realized that a bank account, a savings account, something was open without your knowledge? What would you do? And Wells Fargo recently made headlines as they faked job interviews for Black people. Listen, I'm giving you all the reasons. If you haven't already made a decision to take your money out of Wells Fargo, baby, the time is now. The time is completely and absolutely right now. Let's take a look at this right here that's on the screen. Okay. Now, what this is with this story, former Wells Fargo wealth management executive, and this is a white guy, by the way. This wasn't even a Black guy. He put himself on the line and he got fired because he blew the whistle because of Wells Fargo's misconduct. He's 58 years old. His name is Joe Bruno. Okay. He's a former wealth management executive at Wells Fargo, and he claims he was fired last August after he blew the whistle to his bosses about the bank's alleged fake interviews, which he described as inappropriate, morally wrong, and ethnically wrong. Bruno says that he was instructed to conduct interviews with Black candidates for the lower paying financial consultant positions, despite the fact that he or his superiors had already picked someone for the job. Now, what do y'all think this is? What do you think that act in itself is? Because in my opinion, I think that it's another act of modern day white supremacy. It is. For you to invite Black people there, people who are under and overqualified, when you invite the overqualified people, the salary is not going to be enough to satisfy them. So they're going to pass up on it. But you trying to inflate your diversity statistics to create this facade that you actually are being inclusive and offering jobs to Black folk when you're not, and then inviting underqualified people who you're not going to pick because of their limited resume or experience. Y'all are complete and absolute trash. We are so tired of these illusions of inclusion, and we're going to get into that when we talk about Walmart in just a second. But this is out of pocket. It really is. It's out of control. Y'all need to stop it. Y'all gonna make me get tired on y'all before we even go to the bush, because y'all are dead wrong.
But you're not. Stop it! I have never in my life yelled at a girl like this. When my mother yells at this, it's because she loves me. I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you? Learn something from this. You go to bed at night, you lay there, and you take responsibility for yourself.
Too out of pocket. Too out of pocket. What is there to be said about that? What excuse can you make? And I mean, shout out to this man who decided to blow the whistle, okay? Put his job on the line literally and lost it. I will call him half of a hero, just half. We be throwing out that hero thing a little bit too much. We call every cop a hero. No, they not. We're going to get into that in part 2 when I come back later and give y'all that update on Texas, because a lot of them are cowards. We're going to talk. But Wells Fargo, you can go to hell in a handbasket. Immediately. You can get out. But let's move on to the next topic. Okay. We are moving briskly through these topics this evening. We coming on earlier for y'all, making sure y'all get the syrup before you go to sleep. I appreciate all the people that be, chasing behind the bus, catching the show the next day. Listen, we on here today. We giving it to you. Okay. So let's move on to Cardi B. Y'all see Cardi B in the title. Y'all see Cardi B on the thumbnail and all that other good stuff. Cardi B wants to be a politician, and baby, I don't agree. You may have already came across my opinion on this. if you've seen my previous live that I did from my car when I was on lunch break yesterday. Got a little emotional, but I was a little heated. And it seemed that y'all really enjoyed that impromptu video, because that video did better than some of these videos that I sit down and do all this prep for. But Cardi B, no ma'am. She sat down with Letterman and my next guest, which is the name of his show segment type of situation that he has on Netflix. And Cardi was there. He even, interviewed Will Smith recently. But look, she says she feels like she's a voice that is very necessary and needed in the realm of politics. And I professionally disagree. No, ma'am. Are you a necessary voice? Period. That's very subjective, right? Representation is very important. However, she feels like she's a necessary voice in politics because she's relatable, because she's from the hood and she's an ex-stripper. Is the bar in hell, underneath the hell, in the middle of the earth? Like where's the bar if any hood ass stripper can be a necessary voice in politics? Absolutely not. Move the fuck out the way. And here's the thing. I don't know if Cardi's watching I'm gonna stop calling myself nobody, right? Because I try to humble myself often, right? Just so my head don't get too big. My head is already pretty long, right? It's not that I'm a nobody. Bitch, I've been mentioned by the New York Times, okay? YouTube took my channel because for whatever they took my channel for. I don't know if you're watching the show or not, but baby, you were not set out for politics. And I said that in yesterday's impromptu live from the car, because you don't tweet about anything that affects anybody ever, unless your team can get you a gig where you're sitting up. Like last time you spoke about outside of the day, because today you popped up tweeting after myself. I'm not sure if there's anybody else who has said, listen, you don't open your mouth to speak about things that affect people in lower places than you. Because you got this celebrity status, you've got this tax bracket, and your wealth status, it separates you from us. And if you weren't saying things to cater to poor people, everyday people, you're not in the realm of politics. And so today she ends up tweeting about the kids in Texas. However, she's from New York. She said nothing about Buffalo. When the 10 Black people were slaughtered in a market, she said nothing. And so the last time Cardi B spoke about politics and things that affect the world was in 2020 when she sat down with Joe Biden. And that was a whole bunch of performative, it was a moment that your team was able to book you. You are not consistently. And here's another thing she said in her interview with Letterman. I use the fuck out of my platform. No, you don't. No, you don't. You tweeted today one thing about Texas. And when's the next time you're going to say anything? And I think that now you're only tweeting because the pressure is on and people are calling you out. You do not use your platform to speak about things for other people at all. Natural disasters, shootings, any type of devastating event, you don't speak about it. We have enough political figures who are toting around their celebrity status or their tax bracket and enjoying the attention that they get from being in those spaces. You are not it. You're not. You get online, you see a comment that you don't like, and you're busy telling kids to pour acid on their faces and telling their moms to pour acid on their faces and die. You're also making fun of people with autism. It wasn't even a month ago, 3 or so weeks ago, you were being ableist and cracking jokes about people with autism. Baby, you don't deserve to be in politics. You enjoy the celebrity realm. You enjoy attention. That is where you belong. And that is honestly, that's where you thrive. And that's where you should stay. That's it. For Cardi B to say, here's why I stopped talking about politics and laying out, oh, people told me that I shouldn't. So that's what made you stop? I mean, can I tweet anybody right now? And mind you, any politician I name right now, there's some reasons as to why they're trash. That's not lost upon me. But is there any politician that you can think of right now that we can just tweet and tell them to stop talking about politics and they would just step down and stop using their voice? When people tell you to stop getting online and cussing people out and saying disparaging things, you don't stop. When people tell you to log off and take a mental health break because you're always spazzing out and telling people to kill themselves, you don't stop. You're impulsive, and that's the shit that you really want to do deep down inside, is be fiery and feisty and even sometimes explosively nasty to people. And people can't stop you from doing that. Why? Because it is your passion. If people can stop you
from talking about the things that matter and bringing awareness to poor people's problems, then you're not fucking cut out for it. Period. So stop the bullshit. You've made 3 political tweets in the last 2 years. It's not enough. Stop playing these games. Next. Because that was so frustrating to me, and it was disrespectful. It was disrespectful. But moving on. It got me fired up about that. Because stop. You told around your celebrity and you use that celebrity and that hyper visibility that you have to do a lot of the wrong shit. A lot of inappropriate behavior. A lot of it. You recently told people to go snort lines. Is it okay? Is it not okay? Who knows? You're not a comedian. You're a celebrity. And that's the thing. You try to dig into these other buckets and shit all haphazardly without even thinking or being responsible with your person. The least you could do is be phony about it and tweet it. How long did you know you had this interview coming out with Letterman? You had to at least known for 2 or 3 months. You couldn't even put on a fucking front for 2 months and tweet about shit that really matters. No, you took your ass up there with your fresh lace front and your nice white sweater, baby. It was a nice sweater. And you said all that shit that your team fed you. And that's how we know. You only can speak on these things when you study these bullet points that your team feeds you. You don't really feel passionate about these things. You don't. How is it that 10 Black people were killed in the state that you're from and you ain't open your mouth to say anything? You don't speak about things, but they don't affect you and rich people like you. All you do is get online and complain about being famous. And it's tired, and it's old, and it's whack. Stay your ass in the celebrity pool and stay the fuck away from politics. Politics is already dirty and convoluted enough. That's it. Moving on. Let's get into this Juneteenth ice cream, okay? Like I said, I covered some of these topics the other day, but I had to end the show abruptly because I was so goddamn emotional. I was so emotional from what happened in Texas, right? And like I said, make sure you stay tuned. If you want some updates, I have a load of updates and really unveiling what's really wrong and what happened in Texas, okay? And I wanted to make sure I could get my good mood stuff out the way before I got to the serious stuff, okay? So thank y'all for hitting thumbs up on the video. If you haven't already hit thumbs up, listen, it's free. However you support the show, whether you want to send a cash app, whether you want to send a super chat or a super thanks, or just hit thumbs up. All of it is appreciated the same. It does not cost money to donate to the show. If you just hit that like button, that is enough of a donation for me, okay? If you want throw a little extra something on there, make sure y'all subscribe and support your girl. Black girl right here in Baltimore. All right, let's continue to talk about Juneteenth and this ice cream. And shout out to everybody in the live chat. She might have been overwhelmed about Buffalo, but so was every other politician. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the least we could have seen was a tweet that says, listen, I'm overwhelmed about what happened in Buffalo. It doesn't make sense. She skipped past Buffalo to talk about this thing. It's too spotty. It's just not enough. And I see some people that were like, oh, well, Cardi B's there are a lot of people who relate to her. So maybe she is. There's a lot of people that relate to a lot of people. It's a lot of gangbangers that relate to a lot of people. It's a lot of other hood strippers. Hell. And when I tell people, listen, Azalea Banks is a nut job. But she's very intelligent. A lot of people write her off as crazy because she rants and spazzes out on people. However, Azalea Banks is very well versed on politics and what's happening in the world. Does she do some shit that's far left? Hell yeah. But when I tell people, okay, so how come Azalea Banks, if we just let any old celebrity with visibility or with an interest or a desire to come into the realm of politics and be a necessary voice and take up that space, why can't Azalea? Oh, she's crazy. She be going off on people. It's no different than what Cardi has done. Cardi's not above Azalea when it comes to how they've spazzed the hell out online and said a shitload of inappropriate things. No one is better than the other. So I think it's kind of discriminatory for people to just, if y'all don't ever check Azalea Banks, Azalea Banks writes dissertations in her sleep. I'm talking, and she'll write these paragraph after paragraph. She's another intellectual. She's bipolar, and I'm not saying that to judge her, right? Because this is something that she's admitted herself. And I'm not shaming her for that, but I'm not sure if she always takes the best care of herself, which is why maybe sometimes she spazzes out online at times. So Azalea Banks writes dissertations in her sleep. I'm talking, she wakes up 3 o'clock in the morning and is writing paragraphs. And when I go do the research to see if what she's saying is accurate, it is. Azealia Banks is intelligent as hell. Azealia Banks will go up against Candace Owens any day, and you won't even know who's going to win it. Candace Owens is a coon, don't get me wrong. But Candace Owens is one of those coons where she's intelligent, but it's misguided as hell because she likes to tap dance. So again, we've already got a Candace Owens, an ignorant ass, intelligent person. Azealia Banks is another one. Cardi's very ignorant as well. So are we just opening the floodgates to let more ignorance just go awry because people feel like I've got enough celebrity to try on politics for cosplay? Because that's what it is. You like the attention that you get from digging into these different buckets, but politics is not one. The entertainers who are not dedicated to spreading the awareness and using their platform. Cardi has over 100 million, I think, followers on Instagram. Her platform can be very instrumental in helping to implement a lot of change. However, she's more interested in complaining about fame and cussing out fans and making fun of autistic people than talking about things that really matter. All it takes is for you to read the newspaper for 20 minutes a day to get up and speak about something that you're reading that is affecting poor people. But Cardi's not tapped into that. She's too centered on her tax bracket and her celebrity. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but stay within your celebrity and the entertainment realm with that, because that's where Cardi does good. Honestly. Honestly. Azealia Broken Clock Banks. Exactly. She's right 2 times a day. It's no different than Cardi B being right 2 times a day. She'll use her platform to say, that's not right, and that's it. I love mocking Cardi B sometimes because I got her little accent down pat. Candace doesn't give me intelligence. She just seems no. Candace Owens is very she's articulate as hell. Her vernacular, her syntax, her diction. She just likes to tap dance, and that's the problem. You ever seen somebody that's so smart that they're stupid? They're too smart for their own good, and their agenda or their bottom line is just misplaced. And it's just a waste of intelligence. That's Candace. She likes to play for the wrong team. It is what it is. Another one that shouldn't be in politics, but hey, it is what it is. Those are my thoughts about Cardi B. It was definitely loaded, but they said that's because Cardi don't like Black people. I get it. Candace Owens is wrong all the time. She's another broken clock. She's only right 2 times a day. Period. Let's get into this Juneteenth ice cream, okay? Y'all already know what the Juneteenth ice cream is about. It's been talked about over and over and over again, and I had to take the video down the other night because I got just too emotional, but let's just go ahead and talk about it, get it out the way, and keep it pushing, right? I know a lot of us were frustrated, but there's a bright side and a saving grace in this story, I think, when it comes to this. What other ethnic group do they do this type of shit to? Do you see, in case you don't understand the gravity of this disrespect, have you ever seen a dessert based off of the end of the Holocaust? Don't worry. I'll wait. Have you ever seen a dessert based on that? I don't think you have. I haven't. Hey, enlighten me if you have. Like, send me a DM, tweet me on Twitter. Let me know. I haven't seen it, right? Mind you, this is something that's trademarked. I'm going to pull up the paperwork in a second to show you who trademarked it. Of course, it wasn't nobody Black. It's somebody trying to capitalize off of us. And I understand that no holiday, especially not a federal, just no holiday in general, is safe from capitalism. However, they do this to us on purpose. They rely on our ignorance in order to thrive. That's just the truth of the matter. That's the truth of the matter. The truth about us is sometimes, though, right? Sometimes we are naive and emotional spenders. Listen, we're not going to be able to solve the problem until we admit the problem and change our collective behavior. How is BLM able to run off with all that money that folks donated? We were naive, emotional spenders because we were in the middle of a crisis. We were in the midst of a racial uprising, and we emotionally gave our money up, which is what happens with this. Ain't the first time Walmart or any other company has done something like this. However, when we talk about the illusion of inclusion, who's profiting off of this? There are so many different ways that this could have went. There's so many different ways that this could have went for them to really memorialize us, our legacy, the celebration, whatever the case is. This was disrespectful on so many fronts, to the point where they disrespected a Black ice cream company that's actually already being sold in their stores. This is done by companies that release products and slap our priorities, right? They study what our priorities are. They study the illusion of inclusion that we fall for all the time. And our priorities are based off history, emotion, and what we desire to see changed in the world. But this is insulting, because you're not celebrating us by slapping a dashiki and kente cloth on a tub of ice cream. Baby, that's not a fucking celebration. And you damn sure ain't celebrating us by trademarking something and you're not giving any money. You're not highlighting any Black person or allowing a Black business or a representative. Where are the funds going? It's going into white people's pocket. And I'm going to show you these receipts, because I was just frustrated and taken aback. But first, let's talk about this flavor. This flavor of this ice cream is swirled red velvet. Let me get a little bigger so you can see. Swirled red velvet and cheesecake flavored ice cream, right? What do you see right here? This is Creamalicious. This is a Black-owned brand that's already sold in Walmart. And what flavor do you see that this is? It is red velvet cheesecake. Oh, now take a guess at how many other Black-owned ice cream brands are sold in Walmart. This is the only one. This is a unique flavor. I'm doing my research and I'm seeing that this is a flavor exclusive to only 2 brands. Only 2 brands. Let that sink in. Only 2 brands. But this is a Black-owned brand that Walmart sells on their shelves. This is a Southern-based company. And this is a specific type of ice cream. This is not chocolate and vanilla swirl. This is not Napoleon flavored. This is not, even strawberry cookies and cream. This is a very specific flavor. And you mean to tell me you went through your own inventory in your own store and found something that you knew was for us and by us and stole this flavor from her and slapped the dashiki and kente cloth on a generic tub of ice cream and said, here's your celebration, instead of inviting this company to exclusively sell something and celebrate us? We don't need parties to celebrate Black people that are thrown by white people. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to just make it about Black and white, but actually I do, because that's the truth. And some of these companies, they get it, but they rely on our ignorance to pull this stuff off. They do. It's no different than these goddamn plates right here. It's the freedom for me. Who's doing it? It's the freedom for me. Y'all have got to be out of your mind. You've bumped your head. Something is wrong here. Again, who is profiting? You tell me who's profiting off of this ice cream being sold in Walmart. Because it ain't us. We ain't getting no recognition. That wasn't a Black person highlighted. That wasn't a Black, fundraiser, or organization that they were donating funds to. None of that. They just decided to do this. And what do you know? Walmart decides to turn around and apologize because the backlash was too much. They got too much backlash and they said, you know what? This is disrespectful. Let's take it off the shelves. Y'all should have known it was too much when y'all did this. As a matter of fact, you did. You just didn't expect social media to turn around and do what they did. This is the man who owns Walmart. Is he dead? Yup, but his family still owns it. Let's keep it a buck. Let's take it a step further. This is his family. These are the people who own Walmart who are ultimately profiting off of. Okay? Profiting off of this ice cream and every other product that's sold there. Walmart is a publicly traded family-owned business, as the company is controlled by the Walton family. Sam Walton's heirs own over 50% of Walmart through their holding company, Walton Enterprises, and their individual holdings. You take it a step further and you take a look at, okay, so they own the most shares in Walmart. Who owns the second amount of shares in Walmart? Oh, I don't know. Just another white guy. This guy right here. So you talk about the people who benefit the most, the second most, and whatever. There's nobody of color here. Let's take it a step further. Who the hell is the CEO? Who is the chief executive officer of this retail giant? Another white man. Oh my God, what do you know? What do you know? All of these non-Black people. Somebody make it make sense. It's been long enough. We need to go ahead and go to the bush and weep. It's been too long. We 44 minutes in this thing and we ain't been to the bush yet. Let's go.
It was gone.
Let me just go in the bush and weep. Let me just go in the bush and weep. I just have to go in the bush and weep. Really. I don't understand. I swear to God, I don't understand.
Okay. So that's that, right? Let me show you additionally what the trademark is looking like, because oh yes, I want to prove to you that there are not Black people who have trademarked this holiday of ours. It's them. It's them. Let's pull this up on the screen. What do you know? We see Juneteenth here. We see the company who owns it, right? Mind you, they did it last year, May 17th, 2021. I think this is when we first found out that they were considering or about to make it. I think last year was the first time that we were able to celebrate Juneteenth. So they found out the month prior and said, let's go trademark these nigga shit. And they did. So we take a look at the name of the company. It is E-Bash Box Limited. They trademarked the singular name Juneteenth. They trademarked Juneteenth. Now, why would you go and do something like that? It's the culture vulturism for me. That's what it is for me. Listen, I can't. The disrespect is so loud, it's so apparent, it's so evident. That's it. And when you do your research, it is a white-owned company. A white-owned medicinal company, actually. So I went through those receipts in the last video, but these things are slaps in the face, especially because, again, y'all stole this flavor from a Black-owned brand that was already on your shelves. Y'all have got to be ashamed of yourselves, but actually you aren't. E-Bash Box Limited. Let's see. Let's go ahead and Google y'all right now. I had already Googled it prior, but I done lost the page. Okay. Yeah, it is a medicinal company. And nothing but white people on the website. All right. So let's move on to the next subject, child, because I mean, the only trustworthy celebrations we should be accepting are those facilitated and curated by us, period, point blank. There's no excuse for it. It would be different if they were raising funds or donating a hefty percentage of the proceeds from whatever product or selling point they're trying to get us to buy. And, you know, the most disrespectful thing, in my opinion, is the our story part. It said our story. Like who is our? What are you talking about? Not you taking our ice cream. We talk about our story. Like, who's the our? It's the audacity for me. The audacity is just completely out of this world. But I'm getting hungry. The food smells good downstairs. Lord have mercy. But you know, our story, really, like, it just doesn't make sense. And then it also says share and celebrate on the thing. Listen, I'm over this ice cream. There are other things that we are focused on and worried about right now. I see that there is a mild uproar about a tub of Vaseline. Actually, it says it's a limited edition Vaseline tub. You know, they've got some Black people on there. And listen, we are just not having it anymore. We're just not having it anymore. I want to know how you all feel about it. Let me go ahead and put this on a screen and let me know if you feel like this is the same as what Walmart is doing it if you feel like it's a reach. Let me zoom in because it got really teeny. So here's the picture in question, right? This tub of Vaseline. You see it's got these black people in there, right? It says limited edition. And here's what it says. It says, dear consumer brands, retailers, marketing departments, and agency folks, please stop doing this. I can guarantee you that the Black community didn't ask for equitable Vaseline. What does that even mean? Juneteenth ice cream, Black history candles, or anything else you can think to showcase representation for the Black experience in America. We appreciate that Black culture is now on your radar, but these types of performative limited edition product runs are an embarrassment. If you want to create an impact in the communities of color, hire more Black professionals, support organizations that are doing the work to make communities better, and show up when it matters, not just when you're trying to sell something. You know what? I do agree with that sentiment, because they don't do anything to care. They're not allies. They're not speaking out when anything happens. But when it's time to sell something and slap a Black person on the box or on a product, or, you know, to help for a cause, they're quick to want to include us. This is an illusion of inclusion. Period, point blank. That's what it is. Okay. And we're calling it out. We're tired of it as people. You know, we are becoming to get on one accord, because all of us were rightfully outraged when we saw this. Should we exert a lot of energy on it? No. Do they want to get us riled up, and do they do little things like this just to distract us or give us something? You know, yes, sometimes, but this is one of those times where it actually came in handy, because take that shit off the shelves. And that's exactly what our initial outrage, and you know, it always starts on Twitter. You know, I'm a proud representative of Black Twitter. And you should follow me there if you haven't already. But it started on Twitter, and Twitter created that uproar. It trickled on to Instagram. It trickled a little bit on the Facebook and on YouTube. But it was Twitter that first started that fire that got YouTube, that got Walmart to snatch this mess off the shelves. And I'm glad it worked. So how are we sharing stories by purchasing this ice cream? We're not. The very least that I think Walmart could do is, like, did you even create a forum or a hashtag for people of color to share their stories, to connect or bond over those stories? Did you facilitate any of that? Where is the celebration taking place? Like, what are you talking about? Is it physical? Is it digital? What's the location of the celebration? So you don't even know what you're talking about. You just know how to use the word culture in a sentence, and you think you get it, but it doesn't make sense. We've got to get out of our own way to survive and to take extra precautions to simply live in this racist country. This is what we have to face as Black people. And so Walmart going out of their way to do this, it's just out of pocket. You really got to go out of your way to help us understand that you actually give a shit about our plight, and help to assist or alleviate the plight. But it's got to be when you're not trying to sell something. Raise some money, donate to some funds, and some underprivileged folks, and it's especially the towns. For example, did you donate to Buffalo? Walmart, did you donate to Buffalo? The 10 Black people who were slaughtered, did you donate to them? I don't think you did. Like I said, it's also really messed up that they stole the flavor from Creamalicious. It is a flavor that's nearly exclusive to their brand. And like I said, no commercial holiday is safe from capitalism, but we can gatekeep. One thing we need to do more of is gatekeep. I've been saying it for the longest time. We need to gatekeep and make colonizers feel more uncomfortable, right? We need to make them extremely uncomfortable with running off and profiting off of our things, period, point blank. So Walmart says sorry. And listen, Stickies, I want to know from you, do you accept their apology? Do you accept Walmart's apology? We sincerely apologize. How do we know? How do we know? Y'all need to stop.
Y'all need to stop. Y'all need to grow up. Grow up. Tired of telling y'all to grow up. Y'all need to stop it. I'm tired of it, y'all. You ain't finna work me out.
All right. Now listen, let's go back to Buffalo for a second. Speaking of Buffalo, right? I just asked Walmart, did you donate? Did you donate to Buffalo? I'm sure you didn't, but you was ready to sell some shit. The least you could have done is sold this ice cream and gave every penny of the proceeds to Buffalo or to some Black cause, but you won't, because capitalism is going to capitalize. But let's go back to Buffalo, right? I want to talk about the Black man that was killed in that mass hate crime, right? He was working on a water-powered car. He lost his life. Remember, he was a retired cop, actually. And he lost his life. And he was working on a water-powered car. Now, here's where it gets suspicious. And some of you may have heard this already if you was on the show that I had to take down the other day. But this is something that I think it needs to be out here. This is something that needs to be spoken about and at least thought about. Let's talk about it. Because his up and sudden death, it could definitely be looked at suspicious. A water-powered car, that would cripple the fuel economy and it would affect other ones too. And America doesn't want that. He's not the first man who was working on a water-powered car who was killed. Let's say that again. He is not the black man that was killed in that top supermarket in Buffalo, one of the 10 blacks who were slaughtered in that market by that 18-year-old who was not working alone. He's not the first man to be killed who was working on a water-powered car. So was it intentional or was it not? Let me show you this black man in action, this black angel, and we'll continue to talk. Let's get into this clip.
Aaron Salter Jr. wore many hats in his life: retired police officer, substitute teacher, but one of his true passions was science. He built a lab in his garage where he spent countless hours working to develop an engine that could run on water.
It's not running off of gas fumes?
No, there's no gas fumes. No gas fumes.
Sadly, for all he was in life, the world is learning his story because of the courage he displayed doing his job, protecting his community. Aaron Salter Jr. wore many hats in his life: retired police officer, substitute teacher, but one of his true passions was science. He built a lab in his garage where he spent countless hours working to develop an engine that could run on water.
It's not running off of gas fumes?
No, there's no gas fumes. No gas fumes.
Sadly, for all he was in life, the world is learning his story because of the courage he displayed doing his job, protecting his community.
Okay? So that's the clip. Let's get into a little bit of a further discussion. This might blow your mind. Now listen, like I said, he's not the first man who was creating. He's the second man in history who was creating a water-powered car who just so happened to mysteriously die. The first man, this wasn't enough proof. The first man was white and they killed him. So if they would kill a white man trying to make a water-powered car, what would make you think that they wouldn't do it to a black one? Let's get into this clip.
It's a major breakthrough that will no doubt make motorists happy. And as Ralph Robinson explains, the Pentagon is also showing lots of interest in this project.
Water has always been considered a precious commodity, but Stan Meyer's invention may make it even more valuable. He has developed what's called a water fuel cell. It has taken the place of his old gas tank. The water fuel cell breaks down water molecules into oxygen and hydrogen. The hydrogen is used to run his dune buggy.
I don't care if you use rainwater, well water, city water, ocean water. If you don't have any fresh water, go ahead and use snow. If you don't have any snow available to you, then use salt water because there's no adverse effect to the fuel cell.
Meyer started working on this project 4 years ago. He's not a scientist. He isn't even a chemist. In fact, he never graduated from college.
The very same folks that appeared to recognize him led to his mysterious decline. Stanley Meyer's life was put on hold when one day, as he was having dinner with his brother, his twin, and a couple of Belgian investors. The purpose of the dinner is supposedly a celebration of their work, the vehicle that runs on water, being patented. All was going well, that is, until Meyer drank from his cup of cranberry juice. Suddenly, he began to choke, and took hold of his neck as he bolted outside the diner whilst at the same time vomiting violently. As he lay dying in his brother's arms, his last words happened to be, "They poisoned me." Although the cause of death was officially classified as brain aneurysm, it is incredibly suspicious that his dying words happened to be about an attempt to murder him. Think about it, Meyer's vehicle that runs on water could be an immense hurdle for the oil industry's profit margin.
Now let's take it a step further, okay? The mysterious death of Stanley Meyer, this is him. Okay, his last words were literally, "They poisoned me." He went out to eat. He took a sip His throat immediately closed up. He ran outside to the middle of the parking lot and died in that parking lot while his brother watched him. And his very last words were, "They poisoned me." And the Pentagon was interested in his technology for this water power car. But again, it's no different than these illnesses that we have, that they won't allow a cure or some sort of medicine to come to fruition to cure these things, because it would cripple their industries. Some of these illnesses could have been handled. However, pharma needs to make their money, and they won't allow these cures to exist. So you think about the fuel industry and how inflated and crazy that is, and the Pentagon was interested in him, and he just pops up there, and his last words were, "They poisoned me." Let's read this. His name was Stanley Meyer. The crime scene is in Grove City, Ohio, Franklin County, with all the ingredients of the setting in the American province that is dear to crime writers. It's the 21st century, March 1988. It's the first day of spring, and 4 men are having lunch in a restaurant. They're setting the scene. A waiter serves them some cranberry juice, perhaps, but we'll never know for sure, chosen for dessert. This man immediately after the first sip suddenly gets up as if he's gone crazy. He holds his hands around his neck. He loses his breath and runs out into the parking lot and collapses to the ground and pronounces his last words, "They poisoned me." And you mean to tell me that this is the second coincidental death of an individual who's trying to create a water-powered car? I don't think so. That would make life easy for a lot of us if we didn't have to buy gas. We just wouldn't. We just wouldn't. This isn't making any sense. And here's the question. And listen, if your tinfoil hat gets tingling, let it go. Let me know what you think. The thing about it is his death was supposed to look accidental. And what was this? Did it say 1998? It had to be 1998, right? Yeah, because it's a colored picture. So this was 1998. His death was made to look accidental. Do the autopsy and everything there. Oh, he died of natural causes. Natural causes. You do know what the government is capable of, right? You do know if you are a threat to whatever their bottom line or agenda is, there is something that can be done to make your death look accidental and of natural causes. There are certain drugs that are undetectable when in your system. And that's how it's supposed to look, because they want it to look like an accident. Reminds me of what happened up in Buffalo. Could it have been that this black man who was also working on a water-powered car went in this market? And that's the reason why you got to think this 18-year-old that carried out this slaughter, this mass hate crime massacre in this market, targeting black people intentionally, had a near 600-page manifesto. There was no way that 18-year-old wrote it alone. It was very militant. The verbiage, if you read through it, it was very militant. He had help. He was not working alone. The execution was militant, the weapons were militant, and the manifesto was militant. And I done wrote many a paper in my day, over 50 pages. I'm telling you, after reading that manifesto, he did not write that all by himself. He had help. He did not carry that all out by himself. He had help. And as they started analyzing his digital footprint, they were able to find that he was in cahoots with 20 other people who had recently joined his server within that last week. So, I don't know. It's mighty ironic that something that would save every American in the world mucho money. Even if you don't drive, it will save you money, because you know how much Ubers and Lyfts would go down if we didn't have to use regular gas. We were just using water. It would change the entire economy. But is America ready for that, knowing how capitalist they are? I doubt it. And I don't think that this was a coincidence. There have been other examples of people who have tried to, get gas to a point where they're able to stretch it. There was one gentleman, I think his name was Tom Ogle. He had a muscle car that was getting up to 100 miles per gallon. 100 miles per gallon. Another guy who mysteriously, died. So everybody who's trying to not go up against the fuel industry, but really create something that's more cost efficient and budget friendly for the everyday person, they mysteriously just pop up dead? I don't think so. I don't think so. The strange death of Thomas Ogle. Matter of fact, I have another video. Let's just take a look at this clip, and then we're gonna move on. Listen. I don't like to say that I'm a conspiracy theorist because I really do like to deal in logic. However, see, the government is designed, when they take somebody out, they want you to look crazy for pointing out what they've done. So when you call out things like this, they set it up to the point where it looks so good, where it's like, oh, that's an accident. If you think it's anything than an accident, you're crazy. We're not evil. You're crazy. And that's how it's supposed to be. But absolutely, I just refuse to believe that this black man was working on something like that. And it's just a coincidence. I don't think so. I don't. YouTube, get on my face with that. Okay.
In fact, I read thousands. I get a lot of terrific ideas from those of you leaving comments. In fact, I read thousands of comments each week looking for future video ideas. One of the most interesting video ideas I've received to date is to see if I can get a small engine to run off of nothing other than just gas vapors. It just seems to me that if this idea will actually work, car manufacturers would have switched over to running vehicles on gas vapors many years ago instead of running off of liquid gas. After all, according to those leaving comments, if I can get an engine to run off of gas vapors, it'll save lots of fuel. In fact, instead of an automobile getting, say, 20 to 30 miles per gallon, in theory, an automobile could get hundreds of miles per gallon. So rather than to question whether this is possible or not, I say we get this project underway and find out if it'll work.
Ciao. Wait a minute now.
Did you ever hear the story about Tom Ogle? And I said, well, what about him? And they said, well, he's the guy that invented the vapor car. I said, okay. They found him in the desert dead from an overdose of drugs. Well, you don't think for a minute that they let one man change the way they do business with gasoline, do you?
What actually happened to Tom Ogle? What actually happened to Tom Ogle and his invention?
So that tank was pressurized to such a point and also heated. You had a certain amount of heat and the pressure. Two together caused so heated. You had a certain amount.
So it says he drove a 5,000-pound car from El Paso to Deming and back on less than 2 gallons of gasoline. That's a lot. And he just popped up dead in the middle of the desert?
The heat and the pressure, two together caused nothing but vapor.
Not only does Ogle's car promise more miles per gallon, but he says it will clean the environment. I've had the oil companies try to buy my unit with the agreement that I'd never build another. I refused to sell.
Oh, I've had oil companies try to buy my unit with the agreement that I'd never build another. So they wanted to buy his machine that he was making and make him promise to never build another one. He refused to sell it. And the only thing they had left was to try to break him in court. And he just popped up dead.
And the only thing they had left was to try and break me in court.
His was sophisticated enough to get him dead.
After his Oglemobile was taken away, Tom was found dead in his car. According to an investigator, his death was due to alcohol and an apparent overdose of the drug Darvon.
Did you ever hear the story about Tom Ogle? And I said, well, what about him? And they said, did you ever hear the story about Tom Ogle? And I said, well, what about him? And they said, did you ever hear the story about Tom Ogle?
Not repeating it like that, though, brother.
I said, well, what about him? And they said, well,
child, they must have made a song out of it.
Well, he's the guy that invented the vapor car. I said, okay. Well, you don't think for a minute that they let one man change the way they do business with gasoline, do you?
What actually happened to Tom Ogle? What actually happened to Tom?
Well, interesting story. Like I said, I am not inclined to believe that this was just an isolated. Yeah, they made a song, child. I mean, hey, do what it do to remember them. It sounded like a cool little groove. I would listen to that song on a hot summer day with the windows down. I sure would. Thinking about just being so much of a mastermind that it threatens the government to that capacity that they really want to take you out. They tried to buy it from him. He refused. They wanted him to never make another one. And then he just pops up. Okay. Okay. I don't know. But every now and then there's a coincidence, but sometimes things just line up too much to the point where it's undeniable. It's completely and absolutely undeniable, in my opinion. So let me know what you think about the brilliance, because we want to bring this back to Buffalo and the Black man who was working on a water-powered car, who is no longer with us for whatever reason. I think that, talking about the first guy who tried to do the water-powered car, the Pentagon was interested in him, and he's another one that, and the way his story goes, he takes one sip of water at these people who had an interest in him and his invention, and all of a sudden he can't breathe. And he grabbed his last words are, "They poisoned me." I don't know. We got one more thing that I want to get into, and y'all know it's got to be a little Black history, okay? Y'all know what the Black news bus is about. It's a social media stroll. We cover Black news in the celebrity world, but it covers real world Black news that affects everyday people like you and me. And y'all know I'm always going to be throwing my little nuggets of Black history all up and through there, okay? So I want to get into some Black history. And if you follow me on Twitter, you've already seen some of what today's Black history moment is all about, okay? Y'all gonna learn today. I don't mind. I can talk about celebrities all day long, but it's important that we get some Black news, Black information, and keep the Black representation to the place where Black people shouldn't only be in the news and headlines when there's somebody that's acting a fucking fool. It's so annoying to me how we don't have the proper representation. It's like we only think that there are rappers and entertainers acting a fool, and we forget that there's a lot of Black astronauts and Black brainiacs and Black, just innovative people and people who have been very pivotal in the progression of our liberation and working to get us our rights. And I think that having a dose of that every day, it ain't gonna hurt nobody. If anything, it would be more empowering to remind us how excellent and how smart we are. I think that the mainstream media reminds us of how idiotic we are at times by placing all of the idiocy to the top of our minds. And that's all that's flooding the blogs and the news is just a whole bunch of people being assholes or having moments where they've lost themselves. And I refuse to let that be the only amount of representation that exists when it comes to me and my platform and the Black news that I talk about. There's a lot of great Black news out here. Unfortunately, the stuff that is salacious and that goes viral is some of the worst representations of us. And listen, you can either complain about that or contribute and do what you can do as a voice, if you have a voice in media, by trying to even the kill a little bit. I'm just one person, but I do believe that I'm very powerful. And so, goddamn it, I'm going to use my voice and I'm going to use my platform, and y'all going to learn today. Okay. So let's get into a little bit of Black history. Throw some pancakes in the chat. Don't nobody want to hear that song again? All right, brother, we appreciate what you did, but the song, I'm gonna listen to it later. Make sure y'all go ahead and throw some pancakes in the chat. We're gonna get into this last subject, and then I'm gonna get off of here, eat some dinner, and then I'm gonna come back with all of the Uvalde, Texas updates, since I've already gotten the entertainment out the way. Okay. Hit thumbs up.
The following video is broadcasting live, and thank you for being my studio audience. Thank you for hitting thumbs up and subscribing to my channel for more Black news, celebrity entertainment, and a splash of controversy.
All right, so we are back and we are going to discuss some Black history. So here's some good on this day in Black history. Today is May 26th, and in 1956, there was a woman named Wilhelmina Jakes and a woman named Carrie Patterson. They were two students from Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, which a lot of us know as FAMU. They sat down in the whites-only section of a segregated bus in Tallahassee. And when they refused to move, The bus driver pulled into a local service station and called the police. The Tallahassee police arrested both students, charging them with placing themselves in a position to riot. And this really blew me aback, placing yourself in a position to cause a riot. Like, what? That's a charge, placing yourself in a position to cause a riot. It also takes me aback sometimes. I love to study Black history. When you look at some of these dates, it's like 1956. It wasn't even that long ago. You think about the year that your parents were born and so on and so forth. And it's our parents and grandparents who really had to deal with this coloreds and whites only thing. It really wasn't that long ago. However, in response to them sitting on the bus, they didn't want to sit in the Blacks only section. The police were called. In response, the students at FAMU organized a campus-wide boycott of the city buses that attracted the support of local community members. One local community leader, Reverend C.K. Steele, helped establish the Inter-Civic Council, they call it the ICC, to coordinate this boycott. Like the Montgomery bus boycott, the organization created a carpool system to provide alternative transportation for local residents. Even with much harassment from police, students, and the local community sustained, okay? They had getting harassed by the police, the students in the local community were able to sustain the boycott through December of 1956, when the Supreme Court decided to issue a ruling in a case that originated from the Montgomery bus boycott. Now, check this about the carpool system. The carpool system had 65 Blacks, right? So they were, driving Blacks to and from their jobs and where they needed to go because they were boycotting the buses. And y'all know what carpooling is, right? That's basically ride sharing, right? So imagine like a Lyft where it's not just you in the Lyft. There's several different people in the Lyft basically doing what a bus would do in your car. That's what carpooling is. I realize a lot of people don't use the term carpooling anymore, but do you know that they got tickets for carpooling? Okay, so they were trying to do anything to stop up this boycott because it was really affecting these companies. Now, mind you, you got to understand in that time, if they didn't even want Blacks to ride on certain areas of the bus, they damn sure wasn't letting Blacks drive the bus at that time. Now, subsequently, after this, there were the first 2 Black bus drivers in this particular town. However, they needed the boycott was crippling their income as, mass transportation. So they wanted to stop this boycott and force people to ride the bus and pay that fare by any means necessary. So what they started doing is they started giving tickets to drivers for minor and imagined infractions. I'm talking stupid tickets for allegedly running stop signs and different things of that nature. Anything that they could do to bring the boycott to a halt, that's what they were doing. So they were ticketing the Blacks who were literally carpooling and helping Blacks get around, who weren't on the bus. They were ticketing the people who were driving with the carpool, right? This is the last tweet with regards to this. The city commission threatened to pass a law banning carpools, okay? They were so threatened by the power of this Black unity in this time. And like I said, this is the reason why some of this information is so necessary, because it will teach you, will really remind you how resilient we are as a people and how much we can do with some of that good UNITY. Hey, Queen Latifah said UNITY. This unity was a threat to them. It really was. So the city commission threatened to pass a law banning carpools. Instead, the state attorney general ruled the carpools were violating state laws about cars for hire. In September, 21 drivers in the ICC were arrested and charged with violating the state law. This is crazy. This is crazy. Could you imagine literally helping your people? Like, look, we're going to boycott. We're going to drive y'all to work. And you busy trying to drive your people to work. And they like, listen, how can we make this illegal? How can we make this illegal? It's crazy. It's Fox News placing yourselves in a position to incite a riot. That's right, Goya. That is absolutely right. Thank you so much, Leah, for the $20 super chat. It says, you are the best at this, girl. Thank you for your continuing coverage. You are more than welcome. Thank you so much for being a channel member and being a supporter. I saw that there was a channel member who had up their pledge to the channel for, I think, 2 or 3. Tasha Millie. I saw that you had did something within the membership for 2 months. I think you upped your pledge, and thank you so much. I appreciate that as well. But this Black news right here, this Black history on this day in Black history, it really blew me back today as I'm, typing it and getting it together, doing my research. I'm like, this is crazy. So I created this thread. So if you don't, instinct leads me to another flow. If you don't already follow me on Twitter, you definitely want to make sure you do so. Okay. I'm always over there causing a friendly riot and being more radical on Twitter than I am on here, since YouTube has been bugging and hating on your girl big time lately. But listen, this has been a great bus ride, has it not? It's still early. Let me see. We only been on for an hour and 19 minutes. Okay. I came to y'all before 9 o'clock, got y'all an early show. I'm going to come back a little later with our nighttime show. I'm trying to figure out something I'm going to do for the channel members to show my channel members some appreciation backstage, because y'all definitely deserve to be appreciated. Y'all keep me uplifted. Y'all keep me inspired, and y'all help me fill in things if I don't have everything that I need. And I really do appreciate y'all. Okay. What I want to say is I think I have a tentative date for the LGBTQIA+ panel. I've been talking about all of the issues under the flag, and it's not everybody. Okay. It is not everybody. I don't have an issue with anybody in the community. However, when I talk about the issues under the flag, I'm talking about child groomers and a lot of the predatory behavior and the inappropriate where our children are being targeted, whether in school, outside of school, and they're using that flag as a shield to go after our children. And I want to have an open discussion. I want to have a panel, and I'm not a part of the community, right? But I'm using my voice and I'm being very loud and unapologetic about it. And I think it's only fair that I invite people who are a part of the community to speak on what solutions can we pose, who's going to help us call out. And here's the thing, pedophiles and child groomers need to be uncomfortable about approaching our children and using that flag as a shield. And I've been talking about this for weeks now on the channel. And I just want to be solution-based about it. And I want to hold a dialogue. I think it's important. And so I have a tentative date for that. A lot of people have been asking. I've got a lot of people who are really, really, really interested. I think it's best that I don't do it on a weekday, because sometimes, depending on how my work day goes, I get off work and I'm too tired. The tentative date is not this Sunday, next Sunday at 12 o'clock noon Eastern Standard Time. Y'all know I'm over here in Baltimore. These people need to be more uncomfortable. Period, point blank, when it comes to targeting our children and what's really going on. I want to have this discussion about these untouched and undiscussed patterns in the community and these issues under the flag. And it's only right that I let the community speak up about what are we going to do to make them more uncomfortable? How can I use my loudest voice, right? And my tactics to help bring awareness to this. It's only right to have people who are part of the community speak about it as well. And this is so much of a problem. If you don't see it in the patterns that I'm discussing continuously on this channel, keep in mind, they're trying to add an M. They're trying to add an M onto the LGBTQ community. The M stands for minor attracted people. So they're not even just doing it at nighttime anymore. They're literally creating a letter for themselves, and they're proud. They consider being a minor attracted person, they consider that to be a part of the flag. And that's not okay. I know it's not okay for me, and I'm not even a part of the community. And when I have these discussions on air and off air, people who are part of the community are like, that's not okay. That's not a representation of us. Exactly. What are we going to do about this? How are we going to make noise? How are we going to make these people uncomfortable? Because they're just too bold, too loud, too proud. Y'all remember I did that story not too long ago about that teacher who put on a strip club and an after school club. Now, the after school club was an LGBTQ club. They put on a strip club. Now, it was a drag show, but it was very much a strip club because they had them dancing in strip club clothes, students participating, students showing up. They were instructed to bring money so that they could tip the minors in school at this after school drag show. If that's not bad enough, the fact that they're standing up there in stripper wear, these kids, and holding a strip club for minors, do you know that a week later, the counselor who helped put on that show was arrested for having sex with one of them students? I'm not saying that an LGBTQ club shouldn't exist. What I'm saying is there no overhead that They're so comfortable with doing this type of stuff under the flag because they know that people are apprehensive about calling these things out and asking questions because you're afraid that you're going to be labeled some sort of phobic. And I have a problem with that. And so we need to talk about it. So the tentative date, yes, MAPS, minor attracted people. It is trifling. It is trifling. Trifling. Well, she's in jail now. She's in jail now. So the tentative date, I haven't made a flyer yet. I've been working on trying to get a flyer made. But the tentative date is not this Sunday, but next Sunday, which I do believe is June the 5th at 12 o'clock noon. Yeah. This coming Sunday is May 29th. The Sunday after that is May 5th at 12 o'clock noon. I want to hold this panel. So tell your friends if you are part of it and you want to participate. We'll be organizing backstage behind the scenes, trying to come up with a really good itinerary to keep the discussion on topic because I understand it is going to get heavy. It is. Every conversation I've had, whether it's been on air or off air about it, there's a lot of, emotions there, especially because people feel like that doesn't represent me and it's going to get heavy. So if you want to be a part of the panel, reach out and let me know. If you are a Backstage channel member, reach out and let me know. And if you have any really solid bullet points that you think should be a part of this panel discussion, please send those over to me. And, if you're a part of the community or if you have a friend who's a part of the community, please, please, please invite them. I want everyone's voice who is interested in speaking up and contributing to this conversation. I want everybody to be heard. I want everybody to be heard. I want everybody to be heard. Okay. So this has been a really good show. I'm proud of myself. God dang it. Okay. I came home. I got off work. I said, let me put on a little bit of eyeshadow. Okay. Y'all, do y'all like my eyeshadow today? Y'all feel like I look on fleek? Do y'all think I look on fleek today? Because I feel a little cute. I literally haven't worn eyeshadow since, I don't even know if it was last year. It might have been a year before. No, it might have been last year. I just typically don't do it. I'm very minimal when it comes to makeup. Because I feel like I'm already beautiful. I feel like I'm already beautiful. But listen, I want to get into the sticky note like I always do. I'm gonna go ahead and play this thing. Get into my final thoughts and unanswered questions. Honestly, I really don't have any final thoughts. For today's show. I was gonna do a 60-second moment of silence for Texas, but that's how I messed up last time because I just couldn't get my mind off of it, and I'm dedicating my whole next show to that. Okay. So we definitely want to pray for Texas. Check out the community tab if you haven't already, because there's a really disheartening. The last post I put on the community tab stopped me in my tracks. Okay. It definitely stopped me in my tracks because it's just not right. So I'm going to go ahead and play this joint to just show my channel members some love. Okay. Shout out to all my channel members, a little over 100 of us now. And we're going to be right back with the sticky note. And it's a really good sticky note too. So y'all want to stay tuned, hit the thumbs up button if you haven't already. And to all my channel members, use some special emojis. If you're not a channel member, throw up some pancakes. Okay.
The plainest Jane. This is one of my favorite comments here. She says, I loves me some black. And she said, loves me some black news. She says, is it just me or does anyone else get tired of seeing people that don't look like them delivering info about them day in and day out?
So wait a minute, you ain't joined the channel yet so that you can access special perks over here with the plainest Jane?
Rolex on your wrist, a plain Jane.
Ooh, watch this. Hey, I'm the plainest Jane. I'm a cultural commentator and informant, and I provide sticky coverage on trending stories, black news, black culture, and everyday topics with a sticky, abstract perspective. So get familiar with the perks. I've carefully curated all of these things, and it's just a little exclusive glaze to amplify the way that you express yourself. So get comfortable, get used to our official emoji over here. That is the pancake stack, because it's always sticky in Hollywood and in real life, and especially when you spend the time over here with the plainest Jane. Like I said, I hope you enjoy the exclusive glaze that I've provided for you to amplify the way you express yourself, and I hope you enjoy the digital vibe. Hey, listen, I always want you to keep it sticky, but be sure to think critically and independently, regardless of what you hear from me or anybody else. But most importantly, I hope that you're feeling all right, and hopefully you've had some time to tackle some of your invisible problems. I know I got a couple of new subscribers, and I just want to say thank y'all. I really do appreciate you. And if you're not quite feeling all right, this channel right here, once you join, it's going to help you kick back and decompress always, but it'll also keep you in the know with what's happening with the best Black news, celebrity entertainment, and a splash of controversy. So again, get comfortable. The first drink is on me, all right? Act like you got some sense, and I'll see you around. But don't forget to keep it sticky 24/7 by following me on Instagram, but hit that notification bell so that you always know when I upload and you get your dose of syrup first. Now, with all that stickiness being said, the most important thing I want you to remember about this neck of the woods, and the plainest Jane, is Black Lives Matter. And if you don't agree,
buy pumpkin. That would take you out. I don't play that shit.
Now you gotta go for real.
It's just that simple. Hey, look, whether you join or not, I do want you to stay beautiful, Black, and blessed. And just know I appreciate your support. I'm your girl, the plainest Jane. And let's see what's happening in these virtual streets. You ready? All right now. This could be a crazy ride. I'm warning you now. And we're back. So let's get into today's sticky note. Today's sticky note is this. All right. You may need to think outside the box in order to get where you want to go. And the reason why is because life is not made to be predictable. And in fact, predictability is what hurts so many people. Predictions in most cases are limitations, but also when things derail from your picture perfect predictions, the letdown affects everything. You've created this perfect picture of how things are supposed to go. And then sometimes you become crushed when it doesn't go that way. But you cannot predict every element and every environment that you're going to be exposed to. And sometimes those elements and environments that you aren't familiar with, they're made to grow you, but don't let them confine you. So your idea of how things are supposed to be, it might just have you stuck. It might be limiting you from accomplishing your dreams and your goals. And your goals should be growing you, not containing you, not keeping you complacent, not keeping you in the same place. Remove the limitations and prepare to adapt. Life is not made to be predictable. Change is not your enemy. I know it feels so uncomfortable at times. It does. I mean, Lord knows for me and for a lot of people. But life is not made to be predictable. The more agile you become and the more you're able to adapt to change and understand how some of the things that are happening that you have not predicted are some of the best things that could have ever happened to you, the better off you'll be. You may need to think outside the box in order to get where you want to go. And that's today's sticky note. Listen, if it resonated with you, be sure to comment down below. I'm doing me, so I know it's real. Y'all know these sticky notes are my personal motivational quotes that I have crafted myself. I don't read them from anybody else. I'm not taking motivational quotes from stock quotes or pages or anything. I craft these things because if I'm not here right now, it was a place that I was in at one point or another. So sometimes I'm crafting them in real time. It's something that I'm going through that week. Other times I'm going back like through my diary and seeing. A lot of times we learn how to get over things in life and we forget what we did to overcome a certain hurdle. And sometimes I have to look back like, wait a minute, I've been stressing out about this problem or this issue or this thing, but I've been here before. Like, what did I do to get over this before? This is my first time facing this obstacle. And I have to think back, whether it be me just reflecting in my mind and my memories and trying to remember, or whether it's me going back and reading my diary or my journal or whatever. Diary sounds so childish, right? Call it a journal. But I'm a writer. I like to type. I like to write. I'm very expressive, as all of you all can tell, right? And I look back and I do that inventory and I reflect and see how I can learn from how I've successfully gotten over something before so that I can implement it again. Because sometimes we forget. It might have been something you went through a year and a half, 2 years ago, hell, 5 years ago. So hopefully these motivational quotes, hopefully these sticky notes will do a little
do a little something for you, like they do something for me. And I know that you all tell me that you all really appreciate them. And listen, I appreciate y'all. Okay. It says slaves had to think outside the box in order to imagine freedom. Okay. That is absolutely true. I'm going to say free. That is absolutely true. But listen, thank y'all so much for watching. Thank you for your energy. Okay. Be sure to tag me in all of your favorite trending topics on Twitter and on Instagram. Keep in mind, I'm on Twitter way more than I'm on Instagram, and I'm always cutting up over there. So make sure you follow me on Twitter. If you have not already, especially in between content, it's definitely going to help keep you in the know with what's popping with regards to the best Black news and breaking celebrity entertainment. Thank you for checking out the community tab and engaging with that content whenever you get a chance. But don't forget to do something relaxing today, okay? Because I think that this has been a stressful couple of days for so many of us. I had no clue I was going to be so affected by what happened in Texas, but I was. And I just found myself emotionally taxed and didn't get a lot of rest. And my heart goes out to those babies, those families, and especially if you look at the post at the very top of the community tab, something that I discovered about an hour and a half before I went live. So listen, let me know your thoughts on all the topics, all the bus stops that we stopped past today on this Black News Bus, which is a social media stroll where we talk about what's going on in the celebrity world, what's happening with real Black news involving everyday people like you and me, and a little bit of a dosage of Black history and Black excellence. Okay. Make sure y'all keep it sticky and real down below in them comments. Don't forget to subscribe. Okay. Make sure y'all subscribe and thumbs up or down. Either way, I appreciate it. But make sure y'all hit that notification bell so that you don't ever miss out on any of this celebrity or trending syrup, because y'all know things are always sticky in Hollywood and in real life. Don't forget to drop one of them pancake emojis down below. Okay, go watch your edited video. Please go watch that Kanye video. That Kanye video did horrible numerically, but it's got a lot of really good history in there about Pusha T, McDonald's, their history. He came up with the I'm Loving It jingle. They didn't pay him appropriately. Every single time they used that commercial and that jingle, Pusha T did not get paid. So it breaks down that history with Pusha T, how and why he's at Arby's right now, and what Kanye is up to as well. Check that video out. It would mean so much to me. It's an edited video, and y'all know I'm really good at editing and setting the mood. So check that video out. Y'all stay beautiful, Black, and blessed. I'm going to catch y'all a little bit later on giving y'all some Texas updates. So you definitely want to make sure y'all got your notification bells hit, okay? Thank you so much for the comments and the compliments rather on, my little makeup I did today. I appreciate it. I feel a little cute or whatever. And I'm gonna catch y'all later. I'm getting ready to go eat some chicken wings. Bye.
But that's it. If you want to catch more of my commentary on Black culture or vital and trending information, be sure to subscribe by hitting that little circle in the middle of the screen, or I'll catch you in one of these rectangles to the right in another video. I'll see you there.